Welcome to another episode of Chat Sports Talk. And welcome to week 6 of the college football season. This is going to be my preview and pick video of my 12 games I find the most interesting this upcoming week, including a dandy up there at the Cotton Bowl, which I think everyone knows what just that game is all about. And kind of go over what I did a little bit last week and see how I continue to do this continuing trend right now in college football. A couple things I wanted to address first. Number one, as you can see right here behind me, before the Thursday night football game between the Bears and the Commanders, the legendary Bears linebacker, former Illini linebacker Dick Butkus, died in his sleep at age 80. My heart goes out to the Butkus family in their time of loss, and the Bears found ways to win that game. For Friday night's game between Nebraska and Illinois, I'm sure it's going to be a little emotional there as well, since he was a graduate of the Fighting Illini. That's why I put the Illini football helmet there, even though it's not the same one he wore when he was a linebacker with them. I do have the old school Bears helmet next to them as well, because that's what he normally wore. So we'll see how the Illini take this. Going against the Nebraska team that's kind of up and down as well, so both teams are kind of struggling. I'm not really going to cover that one, but I think that the Illini fans will play tribute to their Hall of Famer. Plain and simple. And before I really continue, I think it's only appropriate that we have a moment of silence for the legendary linebacker Dick Butkus. Well, now I got some of the emotional stuff out of the way. Point number 2 I need to make before I continue this video. Apparently, my video for my recap last week never finished uploading. It kind of stopped. So I decided not to really kick it back out and just kind of left it in flux. It was just a weird, it's been a weird week thus far for me. And when I did not upload, when I didn't do, I mean, just one of those things you can't overcome. But truth of the matter is, last week I repeated week 4's matchup. I went 9-3. I was quite happy with quite a few of those things. I didn't expect Colorado to make the game against USC close. I called for an upset in Syracuse. Got that one wrong. Did not call the one with Ole Miss knocking off LSU. And West Virginia TCU went down to the wire. Went to a blocked field goal that led the Mountaineers leave Fort Worth victors. So we'll see if we can repeat that this upcoming week. And there's a slew of games out there that are very interesting. A couple of them are not, I think, on the national radar, because I think only one game is really on everyone's radar. We'll start with first. One of the greatest football rivalries in college football. The Red River Rivalry being played at the Cotton Bowl up there in Dallas, Texas, between two undefeated programs that are right now sitting on top of the Big 12. They'll be heading to the SEC next season. That's number 3 Texas taking on number 12 Oklahoma. Now, these games have traditionally been high-scoring affairs. Defenses be damned, and as always, the team that's favored tends to lose. It's just one of these weird kind of scenarios how this rivalry plays out. Now, I love the fact that these two were once in part of the Southwest Conference, till Oklahoma actually bolted and helped create the Big 8. But they made sure this rivalry game maintained, which I'm hoping some rivalries will maintain once they go to different conferences. Bedlam. But we'll see how this, how that'll play out. But anyways, back to the point being made here. So these two have a long history of pure hatred for each other. So who's going to show up? that is going to be the thing. I look at Texas right now, and everything points towards Texas. I mean, yours is being phenomenal. The defense is stout. I mean, they took care of Alabama when I didn't give them a shot. Everything seems to be clicking for Texas. Oklahoma has just quietly built up a nice, good solid team. 5-0, 2-0 in conference. And Gabriel's been a almost stud, almost 1,600 yards passing, 15 touchdowns with 2 picks. It really comes down to which offense outguns the other. I really think it's going to be to that level. And Ewers being familiar with this rivalry, being in it before, he's going like this. He's going to try to continue that trend. Right now, Texas favored by 5.5. I want to curtail that. I think it's going to be a lot closer. This is going to be a shootout. This is going to be, like I said, defenses just step aside. It's going to be one of those. Defense is going to make some plays here and there. Don't get me wrong. But these offensive powerhouses are going to find ways to light up the scoreboard. I really think they do right now. The over-under is 61. It's going to be higher. I really do. I think it's going to be like a 70. I think it's going to be like a 3-point victory. It's going to be a last-second field goal. I don't know. I think it's going to be how it's going to be. We'll see what happens. I haven't been really good in predicting the actual scores itself. But I will take Texas. And I think, like I said, it's going to be close. I think it's going to be 3. Then we head up to Columbus, where the Ohio State Buckeyes, the undefeated Buckeyes, 4-0, will play host to undefeated Maryland, who right now is 5-0, 2-0 in conference right now. And I think Tagovailoa is going to trying to find ways to pick apart that Ohio State defense that has shown some cracks in the armor. I mean, look what Notre Dame was able to perform. Well, Ohio State's defense is going to be very talented. They did a very good job against the Irish. So I'm sure they'll do a very good job against Tagovailoa. But he has, over 1,400 yards passing, 13 touchdowns, only 3 picks. The running attack is going to be another thing you have to worry about. That gives him be 300 yards, 4 touchdowns. But can Maryland shut down Marvin Harrison Jr.? That's going to be an issue. I don't think they can. Right now, Ohio State's favored by 19.5. I think bring down that number. I think Maryland might probably make this closer than what a lot of people want. I still think Ohio State's going to be the better squad in this one. They're going to end up winning. I think they're actually going to be a double-point victory. I just don't think it's going to be 19.5. I'm more towards the 13.5 mark. So I think a 13, 14-point win, I think is probably more in the realms of possibilities. But I am going with Ohio State to go 5-0 and really put a claim as the top team in the Big Ten. Then we head over to Columbia, Missouri, where undefeated and 21st ranked Missouri Tigers. And just give that a minute for that to sink in. It's been a while since Missouri's been up here. It's playing host to the 22nd ranked 3-2 LSU. Why LSU still ranked boggles my mind. There's too many teams above them, I think, right now. Special teams are undefeated. They're not even ranked. So I think LSU shouldn't be in the polls anyways. But it is what it is. Nothing you can do about that. And I think all depends on because of Daniels. Daniels is the focal point of this team. He's the dual threat, rusher and the passer. But Mizzou does have a running back that you have to worry about as well, and Schrader. They have a very viable receiver as well, and Burden the third. Both of these guys amass 8 touchdowns between them. So they're going to be key focal points right now in this offense. Right now, LSU's favored by 5. I think they're going to be closer in that one. You think Mizzou is going to make a game of this? They're going to look at this as this is the game we have to leapfrog LSU. And there's already whispered rumblings right now with the LSU faithful about Kelly. If you watched any of my videos before, I talked about Kelly. So you know my stance on him. But that's neither here nor there. I still think LSU is going to win. It's going to be close. It's going to be under 5, I believe. But I will give it to the Tigers. Now we head over to Madison, Wisconsin, as the 3-1 Wisconsin Badgers play host to 4-1 Rutgers Scarlet Knights in a battle of one-loss opponents. Right now, Rutgers is 1-1 Big Ten play. They find themselves slipping further in that East battle because you got to think they're in the same division as Penn State, Michigan, Ohio State. They have no shot. Even Maryland's doing better than they are. Wisconsin needs this kind of step, put them up in the upper half of the West Division in the Big Ten. So the Big Ten still the divisions until next season when they add West Coast teams. Don't get me started on that one. And right now, Wisconsin's favored by 13. Mordecai is going to be the focal point of this Badger offense, but he needs to limit his mistakes. Right now, he has the 3 interceptions. It's going to be a huge factor in this one. The Rutgers running game is going to be a huge factor. Managia has over 400 yards, over 470 yards rushing with 6 touchdowns. So the Wisconsin defense can concentrate on stopping the run, limiting the facts of the passing game. And if Mordecai can actually make the right decisions for the Badgers offense, they should do well. Right now, Wisconsin's favored by 13. Once again, I'm going to curb the enthusiasm in this one. I think Rutgers is going to play him tight. It's just that rushing attack. I think it's going to be a lot for Wisconsin to handle. I think it's going to be a lot closer. It's going to be a 1-score game. I think it's going to be like a 7-point victory, but I am still going with the Badgers to win at home. Then we head back down to Raleigh, North Carolina, where the 3-2 NC State Wolfpack will play host to undefeated 4-0 Marshall in a very unique showdown between the Group of 5 and the Power 5 programs. And NC State's been kind of struggling. They've been kind of hit and miss so far this season. Their transfer quarterback, Armstrong, not been that great. I mean, he has more interceptions than touchdowns, and it's really frustrating because him and Concepcion should really develop that relationship. I mean, they have almost 250 yards passing, 250 yards and 2 touchdowns. But they haven't really emphasized that. So the defense has kind of let them down. And Allie of the Thundering Herd should be a really dangerous running back for the NC State to handle. 475 yards, 9 touchdowns. Right now, NC State's favored by 6.5. Upset alert. I'm going with Marshall to win in Raleigh. This is going to be one of those marquee wins that I think Marshall needs. Now, I could be wrong about this one, but I will give it to Marshall on this one. I think Marshall right now is playing at a higher level right now than NC State. But I'm not going to take anything away from NC State. I think they will rebound, but they will stumble, I think, in this one. Then we head out to the Rose Bowl, where 3-1 UCLA will play host to undefeated 13th ranked Washington State Cougars. And this one should be another key Pac-12 showdown. Could UCLA win this game and get to even marks once again in the Pac? Does Washington State take another step forward again to the top end of the Pac-12 table? This one's going to be interesting because Ward right now has just been phenomenal at quarterback, almost 1,400 yards passing and 13 touchdowns in 4 games. He's throwing an average 3 touchdowns a game. That just allows you know what to expect. They have a defense. They held Oregon State until that final quarter. Oregon State finally started playing, but they were able to hold them off. UCLA has a defense because you look what they did up in Salt Lake City against Utah. Only allowed 1 offensive touchdown. But they couldn't score more than 1 touchdown. And actually had through pick 6 as well, which was a deciding factor in that showdown. So I'm looking at this, and it's like one of these things is like something has to give. Right now, the line is for 3 in favor of UCLA. I'll take the 3 for Washington State. I believe more right now Washington State than do UCLA. Nothing against UCLA. I think they'll still have a phenomenal season, but I want to push Washington State and Oregon State as hard as I possibly can because I want them to succeed and give the rest of the departing Pac members the one-finger salute and take away any chance of them winning the conference. That's just me. I want total anarchy in the Pac-12 right now, but that's neither here nor there. Then we head over to College Station, where the 4-1 Texas A&M Aggies will play host the 11th ranked 4-1 Crimson Tide of Alabama. Now, Alabama has found their stride recently. The game against Ole Miss, a lot of people were saying, no, this is going to be Ole Miss winning this one. And Alabama's defense stepped up. Alabama's defense realized, okay, our offense is not to the level we need them to be. We need to step up and start playing. And they took Dart out of the equation. They took Rodgers out of the equation. Now comes Wiggum. Now, he doesn't really have that high of stats. I mean, almost 980 yards passing, 8 touchdowns, 2 picks. I think he will get picked off quite a bit. McClellan for the Tide is going to be the focal point of the Bama's offense. Over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns. So as long as A&M's defense able to stifle that offensive unit of Alabama, should favor more in A&M's favor. But looking at this aspect, these are two teams are 2-0 in the SEC West. Whoever wins this will take the lead. So this is going to be a pivotal game in that aspect. I don't take nothing away from Alabama. This is going to be a slob knocker. They're going to go back and forth. This is going to be a battle of the trenches. You know, which defense is going to make the right play? Which offense is going to get lucky? Saban's one of the greatest coaches in college football. There's no doubt about it. Right now, the line is in favor of Alabama by 1 point. Give me the Aggies to win at home. I think, home in the 12th man, this is going to be the time frame for them to shine, and I think they will come through, and A&M will sneak out to victory at home against the Crimson Tide. Now let's head over to Chapel Hill, where the 4-1 Syracuse Orange comes in and take on undefeated North Carolina. Now the Orange I picked last week to upset Clemson, and they got demolished. This week I am not so much in favor of them upsetting North Carolina. I expect them to do better than they did last week. Any way for them to be able to improve what they did is, I think, a win in their aspect. Now, Derek May is one of these quarterbacks is going to be very highly drafted next year, but he throws a lot of picks. Under 1,200 yards passing, 5 touchdowns, 4 picks. That's not a good combo to be a quarterback. Syracuse should be able to take advantage of that one and try to pick him off here so often, because he's averaging a pick a game. Hampton for the Tar Heels should be the focal point. Under 400 yards rushing with 7 touchdowns. So he's almost good for 2 touchdowns a game. That's what the Tar Heels need to rely on, is the rushing attack. If Syracuse could try to stifle that one, then May should be able to pick apart the Syracuse secondary. Right now, the line's 9.5 in favor of North Carolina. I might want to stem that back a bit. I'll probably go more 7.5, because I think Syracuse will probably make it a little bit closer. It'll be a second half charge by the Tar Heels. Again, that threshold where they'll be able to win by 7.5. But I'm still going with North Carolina to win at home. And let's bring in a couple more Sun Belt teams. I mean, already brought in Marshall. Let's head over to Lafayette, Louisiana, and Cajun Field, where the University of Louisiana, Raging Cajuns, will take on the Texas State 401 Bobcats. Now, Texas State made a name for themselves in the beginning of the season when they knocked off Baylor and Waco. They then went to San Antonio and almost knocked off their I-35 rival, but fell short, and they quietly started to produce some good wins. Right now, Texas State is a very quality team. Louisiana, not quite the same team they were a couple seasons ago, but they're still a quality niche of players there that perform very well. I mean, there's no question about that one. But I think Finley and the Bobcats should find ways to find themselves. I mean, almost 1,400 yards passing and 10 touchdowns in 5 games. Those are some good stats. My D is just under 500 yards, 7 touchdowns in those same games. As long as those guys can work out, connection and whatnot. Right now, the Cajuns are favored by 2.5. I'm taking Texas State in this one. I think Texas State, I think this is their year to be sitting on top of the Sun Belt. Seems like every year someone new pops up. Like last year, South Alabama was a surprise team in the Sun Belt. I think this year is going to be Texas State. But I'll give it to the Bobcats to go 5-1. Then time to head over to Athens, Georgia, where the #1 Georgia Bulldogs will take on 20th ranked Kentucky Wildcats. Both of them undefeated, 5-0, 2-0 in conference play, 2-0 sitting on top of the SEC East. This is for East supremacy right now, early in the season. Kentucky was too much for Florida. It mainly was just a running game. Georgia's defense is a little bit different. Georgia's defense should be able to close those running lanes. Maybe they'll be able to sneak through a couple big runs here and there. Just seems to be how Kentucky's play style is. And maybe try throwing one over the top of the defense here so often. Gotta keep them honest. But I think Georgia, with Beck, almost 1,500 yards passing, 7 touchdowns. He does have 2 picks, though. So, there's some things that Kentucky's defense, especially secondary, will take advantage of. So this should be a very good matchup in the first half. I really think this is going to be very close. I would not be surprised if Kentucky is leading at halftime. I don't think Kentucky has staying power. I think Georgia is too well coached. I mean, both teams are coached, don't get me wrong. But I think Georgia's back-to-back national champs. They have something they want to be the first three-peat in many, many years. Especially this modern version right now in the playoff system. I mean, it's unheard of. So they want to get back to that plateau. They like it there. They want to come back up there. And with Beck being the focal point, Bowers, a very good tight end, should be very highly touted as well, over 400 yards receiving, with only 3 touchdowns. Maybe I think that will actually increase in this game. Right now the line's 14.5 for Georgia. Let's pull that back. Let's put it more at 10.5, but I will take the Bulldogs to win at home. Then we head up to Louisville, Kentucky, where 25th ranked Cardinals, undefeated, will play host to the 5-1 10th ranked Fighting Irish. Once again, under the bright lights on ABC. Now, Notre Dame had a scare last week with Duke. Was able to hold on. They lost to Ohio State because they decided to put 10 players on defense on a very critical cold line stance. So you have those aspects, but I think Notre Dame's right now, Hartman, has been phenomenal. Phenomenal leader. He knows the right poise. He's able to command everything. Estime is a very astute running back for the Irish. Remember, Hartman has yet to throw a pick. But Thrash should thrash the Irish secondary because he's pretty decent himself. Over 400 yards receiving, 5 touchdowns. So Louisville's passing attack will make some ground. You'll see if the running attack for the Cardinals can actually, kind of help balance the load a bit. But, secondary of the Irish, not the best. So they should have some passing attack in there. It's going to be close right now. Notre Dame's a 6.5 favorites. I like that. I think Notre Dame's going to find a way to win once again. It's just one of these weird. It's going to be like a weird season for the Irish, but they're going to find another win against another ranked opponent. It's going to only help their cred towards the end of the season. We'll see who's left standing then, but I like the Irish winning in Louisville. And then the final game of my 12-game docket. Let's head up to Laramie, Wyoming, where 4-1 Wyoming Cowboys will play 24th ranked, undefeated Fresno State. It took Fresno State a while to get up to the top 25, especially knocking off 2 Power 5 programs. Now they're finally up here. I mean, they beat, Purdue and Arizona State. No, not the most powerful schools in the Power 5 right now. but still 2 Power 5 programs. And, this is going to be, I think, their true test in the Mountain West. I need to find ways to, I think Wyoming's one of them. I think the game against San Diego State's going to be one. The game against San Jose State, Boise State's going to be one. Air Force is going to be another one. Those are the programs they have to top over to make sure that the Mountain West can get the New Year's Six selection. And they're going to be tested. They're going to be tested a lot. Wyoming's defense is no joke. Their running attack, led by Whaley, is going to be trying to be very effective. Over 450 yards rushing, only 3 touchdowns. So they put up the yards, they don't score the points. So the red zone efficiency for the Cowboys is lacking. But can the Cowboys secondary stop the Fresno State passing attack? King was over 1,400 yards, 4 touchdowns. He does have 4 picks, so he is known to throw a pick or two. At least he averages about a pick a game, so he's going to be due for one. Brooks, almost 500 yards receiving with 4 touchdowns. So they could try to disrupt that connection. That should help Wyoming. Right now, Fresno State favored by 6. I like that as well. I will also take the Bulldogs in this one. I think Fresno State is going to make a huge, huge case for them for the New York Six. But, this is going to be a heck of a matchup over there in the Mountain West. Well, there you go. There's my 12. So definitely some quality games coming up. There's quite a few other games that kind of tickled the fancy a bit, but I didn't try, I didn't go there. Oregon State and Cal. Cal's one of those weird schools right now that kind of has, every so often, have a good game followed by a bad game. So it's really hard to really see how they kind of bounce back. See if Colorado rebounds against Arizona State. So there's definitely some games out there that are very good, very well put together. And we'll see how they plan out later on, like Wake and Clemson. These 2 programs are kind of down a bit, but see how Clemson can rebound, especially at home, which I think they should be able to. But there you go. What do you think of my picks? Which game are you looking forward to this weekend? I think that Red River Rivalry is going to be a big one, and the matinee, the Irish and the Cardinals. Of course, I'll be watching that one. Probably cussing up the TV again, like I did with Duke. Fortunately, with my other video, my son was looking at me like, "You okay, old man?" No. But once again, hearts go out to the Buckus family where their loss. One, like I said, one of the greatest linebackers in NFL history, especially Chicago Bears history, and Illini history. So, thoughts to them. Much love. Thanks for the memories. And let me know down below, like I said, which game you're looking forward to. Once you're down there, hit that thumbs up, especially if the content provides you. Really pleases you two guys. Really helps promote this video out. You also subscribe. Over 90% of you are not subscribed. That doesn't cost you a dime. You click that subscribe button. Click the bell icon. Turn your notifications. Let you know next time I post any more content on my channel. And I'll see you next time on Chat Sports Talk.